Doki Doki Literature Club has become a cultural phenomenon. I had heard of it before but was never really interested since it looked like one of those Japanese dating sims. These games offer very little in terms of gameplay, oftentimes involve reading tons of text while looking at static images, and due to this, their resemblance to comic books is greater than that to games. The reason why I decided to try it is mostly because people insisted that it's totally not what it looks like, and also because it's actually free, it doesn't cost any money to play it. Since I'm not a fan of this type of games, I was simply not willing to pay for something which was going to disappoint me, or that's what I thought initially. I usually try to stay as blissfully ignorant of the games I'm going to play as I can. The reason for that is that I don't want the story of a game to be spoiled to me. The story is king and I fear spoilers greatly, especially in games like this one where the story is the main selling point. My first few hours with this game were a nightmare for me. I knew that at some point something was supposed to happen, something that is absolutely uncharacteristic of such dating sims, and I spent every second of the first act hoping it would finally end so that I might see what it was that people are so infatuated with, and boy did this seem like an eternity. The aforementioned first act feels and plays just like any Japanese dating sim I have ever seen or heard of. All of the stupid Japanese tropes are available. The protagonist is an omega male who is placed in a situation in which he's surrounded by interesting and slightly different Japanese anime cliché girls, one for every taste. And the game tells its story while you get to sometimes make minimal decisions on what to say, but the most direct way of trying to get the girl you like is through a minigame in which you pick words that would seem to fit one of the three girls' personalities. This essentially is supposed to represent the creative process that takes you to writing a poem, because it is a literature club after all, and you do end up writing poems and reading them to these girls. This is quite easy and forgiving in terms of gameplay, and the girls are designed to feel quite different, so picking the right words is not a problem. All in all, this first stage of the game was extremely boring to me and I had to stop and play something else for a while before attempting to continue, sometimes on a different day. The repetitive soundtrack, which seems to loop endlessly, didn't help improve the situation at all. Luckily, at some point there is supposed to be a festival in the school in which you go, and this is when the game events happen that will change the whole experience. This is the festival for which you've all been preparing, and the game finally shows its real colors. I don't want to spoil it because it's quite original, and while there is some foreshadowing in advance, it still is quite unique and changes the whole experience significantly. This is where the game will also begin to intentionally glitch out, break the fourth wall, and confuse you. This is also the main appeal of the game. After this moment you will realize that this is no longer about picking up chicks, but at the same time is still unclear what it is about. As you continue playing, the glitches become more extreme, the characters become more extreme in their behavior, and the game starts to actually modify its own files. The narrative is told within and outside the actual game, as it creates normal and encrypted files with cryptic messages and pictures within them. The game is now a thriller and even attempts to be a horror at times. While this will not blow you away, it will definitely pique your interest, as it managed to do so with me. The game teaches you how to modify some of its files yourself, and if you experiment with that, you will end up getting different endings, some of which quite crazy. You learn that each of the girls has something dark within her, and with each subsequent playthrough, this is amplified. I could say more, but I would hate to spoil the game for you, as this will ruin the fun of playing it. I've picked up the footage carefully in hopes that it will show some of the interesting parts, but not give away too much. Doki Doki Literature Club is different from the average dating sim, but it does have many things in common with it. This is why I'm grateful for some of its comfort features, such as the auto-scrolling for the text, the speed of which can be modified, and the ability to skip text which you have already read, which is very useful since you have to replay the game in order to play it right. Replay might not be the right word for it though, since the game tends to change every time and offer a different experience. This is the reason why this game has become such a meme generator, and the reason is its originality. Team Salvato have taken quite a risk by making a game which at first glance would only appeal to a very small group of people, but thanks to the fact that it's free and an excellent shock factor that it brings, this game was a smashing success, and within it we can even find hints about the developer's next game if we dig deep enough. This review has been a bit on the shorter side, but I don't want to risk spoiling the game for anyone, so I will say this for you. If you like dating sims, then play this game. If you dislike dating sims, then play this game too. I think both groups will find things that will be new and exciting to them. If anything else, you owe yourself to finally know what's so special about this game and why everyone's talking about it all the time. I've enjoyed it despite all of its flaws, and I can recommend you play it. Just be sure to not judge it on its first act. That one actually serves as a mask behind which the real story is hidden. Thank you for watching my review and have a great day.